Hello, and welcome to the EP podcast. This first episode is actually going to be one from myself and my own development and experiences. Throughout this podcast series, you're going to meet a lot of different people that have gone through so many cool things, and you're going to learn about their own development and their own qualities that have shaped them to become the person that they are today. For myself, my name is Rohan, and I'm primarily located here in Mississauga, so Toronto, Canada, and I'm going to be 26 this year. Yay. In my past 26 years of living, I've learned a lot of different things, and I've gone through many developmental changes, including school, including hobbies, including friends, family, and so on. Speaking on school, I've gone through a couple of different post-secondary courses actually to find where I am now. I actually recently graduated from marketing advertising just last week, and it came with a lot of trial and error. Originally out of high school, I had enrolled myself into nursing. So growing up, when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a doctor. That did not happen. It could have definitely happened, but let me tell you this. So I went into nursing after high school, and I went to Sheridan College right here in Brampton. And what happened was I did my course, I did all my programs, all my classes and stuff. I did pretty well. I understood a lot of the work, but then the co-op came, and I saw death. I saw sadness. I saw a lot of cold fear, and I just didn't like it that much. So I actually left that program. I took a bit of time off. I tried architecture, which wasn't really for me. I could have definitely tried my best and did it, but for me, I'm a firm believer that you want to do something that you have a passion for, that you enjoy, and I didn't really enjoy that too much. It was way too much numbers and stuff. Shout out to everybody who is a nurse or into architecture. You guys are wonderful and doing such an amazing job. After architecture, I actually got into marketing advertising, which, as I said, I graduated from finally. And it was a really good feeling being able to finish off that part of my life, the whole school aspect. Now for the next step, finding work and the such from that program. Speaking on family, I have my two sisters, my mom, my dad, and we live a pretty happy life. From the time I was born, I can't imagine a moment where, we were not given something that we wanted. My parents always took the greatest care of me, and I find it super inspirational to see where they come from. We're Guyanese, so from the Caribbean descent. They came from Guyana with very, very little, and they invested that very, very wisely, and to today we have so much. I'm able to have these cameras, these media, these sort of platforms to speak to you on, so very, very inspirational stuff there as well. Another thing about my photography is from high school, actually. I remember holding a camera for the first time and feeling some sort of passion with my family, and when I revisited that in high school, I wanted to learn a lot more of it. So I took a class called Non-Traditional Arts, and I learned a lot of Photoshop, Lightroom, editing, lighting, all the kind of sorts like that. I remember actually being bullied a lot though in high school for just being the person I am. I always like to dress tidy and neat, and I like to carry books with me all the time to read. I never really liked sports that much. I actually preferred music, as you can see the keyboard here. I play other instruments as well, and growing up I loved performing, I loved being in concerts, and just watching people have such a love for instruments and singing and dance and all of that. But I was bullied for it because a lot of people like sports more, especially the guys. Growing up you want to kick around the ball, throw, shoot hoops. I was never really into that. I preferred jamming some music, singing some songs, but other guys didn't really like that, and I was bullied for it. But when it came time to, go into high school and get into things, I chose photography, I chose music, and I chose those things that were not looked upon by other guys my age. And looking back at it now, I'm actually really proud of my choices because it shaped me to be the person that I am today. I'm not into sports, and on this platform I can tell you straight, I don't like sports that much. I can play it, I don't mind kicking around the ball, but when it comes to the competitiveness and those kinds of things, I'm just not really into it. But hey, shout out to people who are. You guys rock. I just don't like it. And it really sucks that I was bullied for it. And I don't know if the next generation right now in 2021 are still being slandered for things like that. But hey, if you are, just understand you can overcome it. And the same way that I did, you can do it too. I remember actually being left behind in school when friends that I had would leave. They had their cars, they had their G2 for the first time, they had their cars, and they would leave the school and go to McDonald's, go to Burger King, and have food. they would always leave me back. They'd always say, hey, Rohan, no, you stay back at school. And I would always think, like, why? Why are you guys leaving me back? I didn't do anything wrong. But they would leave me back. So what would I do? I would go to the classroom where my teacher would be eating his lunch. Actually, it was his break. And I remember this teacher's name was Mr. Eager. Such an awesome teacher he was. And he said, hey, like, what's up? I would come to the door and I would say, like, is it possible I could play around with the cameras? I could, like, do some extra editing, learn some more tricks or something. Can you show me something? And I remember he would eat his lunch on the side, but he would take me as well and, you know, tell me, hey, come, sit down next to me. You know, I'll tell you about this camera here. This is a Canon, or this is a Sony, or whatever it is. And, like, he was very kind. And to this day, I never ever forgot that teacher, Mr. Eager, because he helped me a lot to find my passion. And even though I was bullied for it, I still was able to find and mold a love for photography and videography. And you know, it just goes to show, don't conform to society. Don't beat yourself up just because people are mean to you. You know, fight for your passion, fight for your dreams, and don't ever give up. Fast forward to now, I have a whole page of photography. That's actually something that I do. It's a fun hobby that I take a lot of passion with, and I love very dearly. So thank you everybody for also supporting me on that endeavor and those ventures that I've taken, like the amount of weddings I've shot, the amount of friends and, you know, people I've met from that. Like it's so amazing to see. So whatever it is that you love to follow, like keep on like working towards that. Don't ever give up no matter what. Speaking of motivation, I remember growing up and my dad actually told me this really cool quote. It says, when I'm coming through, the world has to step aside. And I felt like that was a very confident quote hearing growing up. It's like, when you're going through, no matter your size, no matter your ethnicity, I mean, ethnicity is a whole big topic on its own. I remember growing up in a predominantly white area, Meadowvale, and I was bullied because I would go to school with like a bowl of rice and curry, or like my own ethnic kind of foods, and people would be like, what are you eating? It smells so bad. And to me, it doesn't smell bad because I'm used to it, right? It's just the spices and, you know, all those things mixed up. But they wouldn't like it. And I was bullied because of that. I remember this one kid actually took my bowl of food and dumped it in the garbage, and that day I was hungry. I only had an apple juice. And, you know, it was a sad thing to see. I really hope nobody these days are going through that. That would suck. That would really suck. But, you know, if it is, I really feel bad for you. And, you know, you gotta find inspiration, find motivation. You gotta stand up, and, you know, don't ever be afraid to speak on your culture. For me, I remember I was so afraid. I was like, oh, like, okay, this is gross. So I would tell my mom, okay, don't cook this for me anymore. But no, like, if this is happening to you now, you tell your parents, like, what's going on. But when you go and those students are being mean to you, you tell them, hey, I'm proud of my culture. This is my food. Whether you like it or not, I'm eating it. But yeah, like, I remember, like, just going through so many issues of ethnicity and, you know, all those kinds of things growing up, and to shape where it is now. Like, a lot of growth, a lot of development for sure. A lot of obstacles have come up as well, in terms of friends and, you know, people being mean. Even with this whole photography thing, like in music, some people turn it into a competitive thing. If you love music, you know, you keep on trying to do your best, people will find some way to slander you and beat you up for it and be like, oh no, you played something wrong, you did something wrong. No. If you do it from the heart, you speak from the heart, it's passion, and don't ever give up. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Yeah, it's a bit about myself. I mean, the photography stuff, the music, those are things that define me. I love reading as well, and I never let anything stop me from reading. If there was a nice book out there, I would, you know, get it from the library, I would read it. I wouldn't care if I was the only one sitting under a tree in like grade 5 reading a book. That would be me, and I'd do it to my heart's content, and I would love doing it. So yeah, I look forward to showing you guys more of myself and the friends and people I've come across on this series, on this podcast series. And again, no edits, no chopped up parts. This is all raw from the heart. Every podcast that you see here, I am looking forward to it. If you know anybody that could be featured on the podcast series as well, that would love to be on it, please shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think, and any concerns, anything you want to talk about. I'm right here in the DMs. Just send me a message.